I'm Gracie Hildebrand with your latest edition of PNN. With Veterans Day approaching, we go to Ansley Batiste and Isabel Rivera with a special on some of our veterans here at Smith Station Junior High School.
I'm Ansley Batiste PNN, and as you know, November 10th is Veterans Day. On this day, we celebrate the special people who served our country. Let's all take a moment and thank those family members who did all they could while serving our country. I especially want to thank the veteran staff members here at Smith Station Junior High School. We appreciate you all very much, and we are very thankful for you too. And we go to Isabel Rivera with your veterans here at Smith Station.
What encouraged you to join the military?
I wish I could say it was a call to duty, but really it was me and my girlfriend was sitting around and we saw a commercial and we just decided to go in as on the buddy system. So we ended up signing up together.
What branch did you serve in?
We served in the Navy.
Were you an officer or enlisted?
Enlisted.
What was your rank?
I came out as a petty officer second class, which is an old E2? E2?
What was your job in the military?
I was a storekeeper.
How long did you serve?
11 years.
What was your favorite duty station?
Scotland.
Where did you go to boot camp at or basic training?
Orlando. Was it Orlando?
What was your fondest moment during your service?
My funnest moment? I think graduating from boot camp.
Would you encourage anyone here at Smith Station Junior High School to join the military?
I would. We are a family of military. My husband is in the Army. I was in the Navy. My daughter is in the Air Force. My son is also getting ready, prepared to go to the Air Force. So the military is our thing. That's how I ended up here.
What encouraged you to join the military?
My dad was in the Army for 28 years, and so I was a military brat, moved all over the United States and Europe a lot of times. So it was just in my nature. When I went to college, needed money, looked at ROTC, got a little stipend check for being in ROTC. So I joined ROTC and found out it was something I loved.
What branch did you serve in?
I was in the Army. I was in the infantry in the Army.
Were you an officer or enlisted?
I was an officer. I went, while in ROTC, I went to Fort Bragg for like 3 months between my junior and senior year. And when I graduated college, I was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Army, and then I went to infantry basics course here in Fort Benning.
What was your rank?
I started off as a second lieutenant, and when I finally got out and served all my military time, I was a captain.
What was your job in the military?
I started off as an infantry platoon leader for 3rd Armored Division, and from there I went to become a specialty platoon leader, and we did mortars. We called them 4 Deuce, and it was a specialty platoon, and it was pretty much the size of a small company, and I had a blast.
How long did you serve?
I was active duty for right at 4 years, and then I served in the reserve for right at about 13 years.
What was your favorite duty station?
I really only had 2 duty stations because of my short time in the Army. I was stationed at Fort Benning for a basic course, and then I was stationed in Germany in a place called Kirchgoins, Germany. It's by Gießen, Germany, in the northern part of Germany. And that was my favorite place, since it's really the only place I was stationed while I was active duty in the military.
Where did you go to basic training?
Like I said, I went to basic training, and well, my basic training was actually in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, during my junior, senior years. Then I went to infantry officers basic course here in Fort Benning.
What was your fondest moment during your service?
I think the fondest moment is when we were doing a big evaluation for the division, and my mortar platoon ended up being #1 in the whole division. And for our reward, which was not much of a reward at the time, but it ended up being pretty fun, we had about 300 rounds of ammunition that was not right. It was supposed to be perfectly round, and it was a little odd shaped. So when they dropped the rounds down the cylinder, they get hung up in the cylinder. So the Army had to destroy them. So we were in charge of destroying all those rounds. And basically, we were dropping the rounds down our tube, and when they got hung up, somebody had to kick the tube and dive in a hole we had dug in case it blew up. And so that was a fun experience. Took about 3 days to do that, to dispose of all the artillery and everything properly. But it was pretty exciting. We got a big attaboys from everybody for taking care of it safely, and we had no mishaps. So that was pretty fun.
Would you encourage anyone here at Smith Station Junior High to join the military?
Yes, I would. I think it's a great opportunity. I would recommend that they go to college, get a college degree, and be an officer, and figure out what branch they want to be in, whether it's Army or Air Force or Navy, and they can use that as a stepping stone to a civilian career and get a lot of experience while they're in there.
Thank you all again for your service. This has been Ann Batiste, PNN.
This is Gracie Hildebrand with your latest edition of PNN.